My sister-in-law sneered, "So you just sit at a computer all day? What kind of job is that?" Her tone dripped with contempt. "You're nothing but a housewife," my mother-in-law added, a smug smile plastered on her face, as if her pronouncement sealed my worthlessness. Living with my in-laws had become a constant barrage of belittling remarks and petty comparisons, each one chipping away at my resolve. Their audacity to demean me lingered long after the conversations, fueling a quiet rage within. Finally, they pushed me too far, and I decided to make them face a reality they'd conveniently ignored: the truth about who was actually funding their comfortable existence. I'm Hannah, a 34-year-old and the owner of a successful beachfront resort. My position allows me considerable flexibility, and I choose to manage the business from my home. This arrangement, however, was met with scorn and months of subtle bullying from my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. But I was determined to put them in their place, while maintaining my composure. My family has a long history in various industries, but our most profitable venture has always been hotels and resorts. At 17, I started interning at our lakeside resort, and it quickly became my passion. I thrived on interacting with guests and managing the business side of things. Seeing my dedication, my parents gave me an incredible gift on my 24th birthday. "Sweetie," my mother began, "your dad and I have been thinking about this for a while. We know you're ready." She handed me a set of legal documents. "These are for you. We're transferring ownership of the lakeside resort to you." Overwhelmed with gratitude, I accepted the responsibility and promised, "I won't let you down." I poured my heart and soul into the business, and within a year it was thriving, providing financial security for life. While my parents gave me the initial opportunity, my hard work made it a success. Around this time, I also met my husband Jesse through a dating app. About 6 years into owning the resort and financially secure, my love life was a disaster. Feeling lonely, I decided to try online dating. My connection with Jesse was instant and strong. He was even more charming and handsome in person than his profile suggested. We dated steadily for 3 years. My parents had always taught me to be cautious, especially when it came to money, so I was careful in relationships. I didn't tell Jesse about my wealth until we'd been together for 3 years. His reaction was exactly what I hoped for. "Hannah," he said sincerely, "it's not your money that attracted me, it's you." His genuine response reassured me, and I finally shared the truth. "Jesse, there's something I need to tell you. I own the lakeside resort, and I'm very comfortable financially because of it. I need you to keep this private." "I understand," he replied. "This doesn't change anything." We had a beautiful wedding, mostly attended by Jess's family. I'd met his mother, Amanda, and his sister, Sylvia, a few times before. They seemed a little awkward, but nothing too concerning. I didn't pay much attention to their occasional whispered conversations, as long as they didn't affect my relationship. Jesse understood my reservations about his mother and sister and supported my decision to keep a bit of distance. A month after our wedding, Jesse came to me with a request. "Honey," he said, "my mom and sister are in a tough spot. Could they stay with us for a while? They're behind on rent and facing eviction." When Amanda and Sylvia called, clearly distressed, I felt for them and immediately agreed. However, my mother-in-law mentioned they'd probably be staying for about 6 months to save up for a new place. That seemed manageable, but I made it clear that they needed to contribute to the household. "Living here means helping with chores and other tasks," I explained to Jesse. "I'll make sure they do," he promised. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. For some reason, Amanda and Sylvia assumed Jesse owned the house, which honestly I didn't care about, but it created problems. I earned significantly more than Jesse, something he'd never disclosed. He was afraid that if Amanda and Sylvia knew about my wealth, they'd take advantage of me. Seeing our home, they'd assumed Jesse was the primary breadwinner and started treating me with disdain. "You really don't do much around here," Amanda commented one evening. "Jess's the one keeping this house going," Sylvia added. "Yeah, Hannah, maybe you should contribute more," she chimed in. They consistently ignored their chores, leaving messes everywhere. Despite Jess's repeated requests for them to clean up, they'd brush him off, using family as an excuse. "We're family," Sylvia would say with a shrug. "Why are you making such a big deal about it?" My ability to work from home, thanks to owning the resort, also became a point of contention. Working from home isn't real work, Amanda dismissed. You just sit around on your computer all day. What kind of job is that? Sylvia added with open disrespect. They constantly interrupted me, especially when I was busy with important tasks or meetings, sending me on errands at the worst possible times. Hannah, could you run to the store for us? My mother-in-law would ask just as I was joining a crucial conference call. If I tried to decline, they'd claim they were short on cash or had no transportation. What made it worse was that they were unemployed and made no real effort to find jobs. They were perfectly content to live in our home and use our resources. I wouldn't have minded if they'd at least taken responsibility for their mess. But Amanda and Sylvia treated me like I was insignificant, and I was tired of it. You're just a stay-at-home wife, my mother-in-law sneered one day. Jessie works hard and brings home the money. What do you even do? My husband was just as frustrated as I was. I've had enough of this, he told me privately one evening. They don't respect you, and their behavior is completely unacceptable. He was especially angry about how they treated me and their complete disregard for my feelings. The final straw came when I invited some friends over for brunch. I told Amanda and Sylvia beforehand and politely asked them to stay out of the common areas for a few hours. They readily agreed, which surprised me, but I tried to be optimistic. I shouldn't have been. Half an hour into my friend's visit, Amanda and Sylvia strolled in, introducing themselves. I was beyond irritated. To make matters worse, they proceeded to paint me as a spoiled, privileged woman who lived off other people's money. My friends knew the truth, of course. An awkward silence filled the room as Amanda and Sylvia seemed to revel in my discomfort, laughing at my expense. They were waiting for a reaction, but I refused to give them the satisfaction. Instead, I stood up and announced that I was leaving. My friends immediately agreed, and we all left the house as if it were on fire. I craved a moment of peace, and upon returning home, went straight to my room, hoping to avoid Amanda and Sylvia until I'd cooled down. Their blatant disrespect still burned, fueling my simmering resentment. They'd crossed a line, and I was determined to make them understand who was really funding their comfortable lifestyle. I waited until Jesse got home from work, exhausted. When he asked about my day, I recounted the brunch incident, emphasizing his mother and sister's appalling behavior. Jesse was furious on my behalf. I can't believe they did that, he seethed. Do you want me to talk to them? I shook my head. No, I have a better idea. How about we suggest a quick trip to the beach and put them up at my private resort? Jess's face lit up. That's brilliant. A perfect way to establish some firm boundaries. And here's the best part, I continued, a mischievous glint in my eye. I'm thinking we drive them all the way there, but then we don't let them stay. We'll enjoy ourselves, leave them to their own devices, and let them figure out how to get home. Jessie grinned. I love it. They deserve it. And are we thinking of kicking them out of the house afterward too? Absolutely, I replied, a mix of satisfaction and playful malice in my voice. Perfect, Jessie agreed. We'll evict them. I'm sick of their freeloading. Let's draft the eviction notice now and give it to them before we leave. It'll be the ultimate lesson. I laughed. I knew you'd be on board. We planned the vacation for the following week, to coincide with Jess's time off. During the week leading up to it, I had my lawyer notarize the eviction notice. I couldn't wait to present it to Amanda and Sylvia, finally showing them the consequences of their actions. Once Jess's leave was approved, we finalized our strategy. We need to make this trip seem genuine, Jessie said. It'll make the final part of our plan even sweeter. I nodded. It's not just about revenge. This trip is also about a fresh start for us, living life on our own terms. To prepare, I contacted my brother to change the locks on our house and asked his friends, who I paid, to pack up Amanda and Sylvia's belongings. I was resolute. They wouldn't be coming back. They needed to understand that. The drive to the resort would take about half a day, during which I planned to let Amanda and Sylvia ramble on as usual. I knew I'd have the last laugh. When everything was in place, we told Amanda and Sylvia about our vacation plans. Casually, I said, we're going to the beach next weekend. Want to come? Amanda looked suspicious. Why are you inviting us? What's the catch? No catch, Jessie replied smoothly. We just thought it would be a nice getaway for everyone. Sylvia scoffed. Relax, or do you have something else planned? I smiled, masking my annoyance. It's entirely up to you. We're going either way. Despite the underlying tension, we kept our composure. We stood our ground against their objections and accusations, determined to go through with this trip that would mark the beginning of our freedom. As we packed, Amanda and Sylvia chattered nonstop. Jessie and I exchanged knowing glances. After conferring, they agreed to join us and immediately started packing. When we arrived at the resort, Amanda and Sylvia were awestruck. "This place is amazing," Amanda exclaimed. Sylvia added, "Jessie, how can you afford this? It's incredible." Jessie looked embarrassed and avoided eye contact. Amanda and Sylvia seized the opportunity to put me down. "You should be grateful Jessie brought you here," my mother-in-law said pointedly. Her daughter chimed in, "You don't deserve the things he does for you." Despite their jabs, I held my head high as I entered the resort. My in-laws trailed behind, continuing their taunts while Jessie waited with the bellhop. At reception, the receptionist greeted me, calling me boss. Amanda immediately protested. "Why are you calling her boss? That title should be for someone like us." "Exactly. She's not in charge of anything," Sylvia added. The receptionist calmly replied, "Actually, Miss Hannah is my boss." Amanda and Sylvia froze, confused and disbelieving. My mother-in-law snapped, "That's ridiculous. Let me speak to the manager." She had no idea that the highest authority in the building was standing right in front of her. The receptionist smiled. "I doubt the manager can help you with that." My in-laws' faces paled as they stammered, trying to argue. The receptionist simply stated, "I assure you, she owns the resort." I watched as Amanda and Sylvia struggled to find words, finally realizing how poorly they'd treated me. They seemed to connect the dots, understanding that my time on the phone and laptop was actual work, generating income. When Jessie walked in, they immediately turned on him. "How could you deceive us?" his mother accused. "What are you talking about?" Jessie replied defensively. "Why would I tell you about my wife's resort or her finances? It's not my place to share her private information." "You've embarrassed us this whole time," Sylvia exclaimed. "If knowing about my income and social standing is the only way you can treat me with respect, then I don't want you in our lives," I said calmly. "You don't get to decide that for my son," Amanda accused. "Mom, she's right," Jessie interjected, cutting her off. "Are you seriously taking her side over us?" Sylvia asked, incredulous. "I've repeatedly told you both to stop being mean to Hannah. But you ignored me. You only acted politely when I was around, and even then, it was still disrespectful," Jessie said firmly. "I'm done. Consider this your eviction notice. When you get back, your things will be gone. I've changed the locks. Good luck getting home." Amanda wailed, "You can't just abandon your family like this." Jessie retorted, "If family truly mattered to you, you would have treated us better." Sylvia tried one last time, pleading, "At least let us stay here for now." Jessie remained resolute, handing them some cash. "Here's $250 for your trip home. Goodbye." The look of stunned disbelief on Amanda and Sylvia's faces was incredibly satisfying. Finally, I could reclaim my home as a peaceful sanctuary. Jessie was just as relieved, his happy expression saying it all. Our short getaway was wonderful, and we looked forward to going home. It's been 7 months since then, and I'm determined to never sacrifice my peace for the sake of bullying family members. Thankfully, Jessie is completely on board. As for Amanda and Sylvia, their belongings were gone when we returned. Jessie had to deal with some fallout from his family, providing evidence to refute the lies and manipulations his mother and sister concocted. As far as I know, Amanda and Sylvia have been ostracized by the rest of the family and are getting no help from anyone. Jessie and I have successfully removed the biggest source of toxicity from our lives, and we're happier and healthier for it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.